Welcome back. If you've just joined us, we've been looking at the transmission link of the power sector value chain. And our guest on this episode of Question Time is the Managing Director of the Transmission Company of Nigeria, Dr. Atiku Abubakar Tambuwal. Stay with us. Now let's look at some of the complaints from the discos and what may be their albatross so far in the power distribution chain. They are complaining about the foreign exchange rates, that it has affected business for them badly, and it has affected the value in terms of what they've agreed to do in terms of purchase. So do you think they have a basis here?
I think they have a point there. They deserve to be listened to. We all know that when they entered into the contract, the foreign exchange is not as it is before. It has astronomically grown higher. So they need some kind of intervention. And probably that is why the federal government has come up with that intervention fund through CBN to address some of these issues. But particularly for the distribution, generation companies who purchase their gas mostly in dollars, they are in serious problems, which something has to be done. And I know government is doing something to see how they can address to these challenges. Even distribution companies, the meters, they import them because we are yet to manufacture them here in this country. So they need intervention. So I will appeal with the federal government, the CBN, to come up with a way to assist the companies to be able to secure their foreign exchange without going to the black market.
What do you make of the discos claiming that the federal government is owing them up to a tune of 400 billion naira?
I don't have any reason not to disbelieve them, but I'm aware that the minister is trying to assist in getting these debts paid by the MDS.
Up till now, many consumers of power don't have access to the prepaid meter. What is responsible for this?
I partially said it is the foreign exchange element. Most of these distribution companies cannot procure foreign exchange from the black market to get these meters. So until something is done, or we have local manufacturers of these meters in Nigeria, I think it will still be an issue of getting these meters at the scale at which they are expected to be deployed.
Some are alleging that some stakeholders in the power distribution chain are deliberately hoarding this prepaid meter for some selfish agenda. Could you substantiate this claim? Is there a possibility of this?
I don't think I have much to say on this, but all I know is that for a very transparent market, we have to deploy these prepayment meters so that customers will be happy that they are paying for what they consume. In the absence of that, I think we may not be able to get out of the issues of liquidity we are having in the market.
One of the reasons some have argued that the transmission arm of the power value chain is the weakest link is because the Transmission Company of Nigeria is yet to be privatized. That's the only arm of the power value chain yet to be privatized. How would you react to this?
No, what government is planning and very seriously pursuing is the issue of private sector participation in those projects on a contractor finance model, such that any private investor who is willing to invest in transmission will be given these greenfield projects to construct by fully funding it and handing over to us and then being paid over a period of time. We have a lot of companies, a lot of investors that have shown interest. So we're working towards a framework which is to be agreed upon by the government. The Federal Ministry of Power is working on that, such that once it is okay, we will now invite them and we will roll out those projects to them, and we will get the benefit of private sector in our projects.
Before we wind down this conversation now, anxiety is rising and frustration are getting unabated indeed. And many are wondering, with all these huge investments, that when would Nigerians enjoy the federal government's promise of uninterrupted power supply?
Well, I will still repeat the same strategy of our Honorable Minister of Power, that we have to start with incremental power delivery, then steady power delivery and uninterrupted. The reason why he has advocated for this approach is the fact that you cannot overnight give Nigerians all the power that they require, considering the fact that we have the need to get it done before, and for one reason or the other, it was not systematically done. So right now we have a lot of power initiatives by the government through PPS signed with a lot of IPPs on renewables, even on coal, to generate power on an incremental basis, which should also be in tandem with transmission capability, because there is no point generating 20,000 megawatts today while we know that the transmission infrastructure cannot roll out 20,000 megawatts. So we are doing it together. We are looking at the growth of the generation and linking it also with our projects, our expansion plan, which we have clearly rolled out to take us to various stages of deliverance, from 10,000 megawatts in 2019, like I said, as echoed by our president, and also to 20,000 megawatts by 2020. So the plans are there, and the determination is there. The government is willing, and we are hoping that these funds will be made available from all sources, which I have said earlier, to be able to actualize these plans.
Dr. Atiku Abubakar Tambuwal, thank you very much for making our time to be part of this episode of Question Time. Thank you very much indeed. As Nigerians continue to wait in frustration to behold the federal government's endless promise of 10,000 megawatts by 2019, could anyone explain what happens to the 2.7 trillion naira spent in the power sector in the last 16 years? Recently, the TCN took delivery of 77 containers of power equipment, which was under demurrage for over 8 years. What happens to the federal government waivers on importation of power equipment, and what can be done to make the procurement process easier? Right now, reality grips as Nigerians groan the untold hardship as a result of the power cuts. And that's it on this episode of Question Time from Channels Television. You may also send us a comment and join in this conversation on our social media platforms showing on your screen. Many thanks for watching. I'm Benga Ashuru. Bye for now.